Hi! So again, I'm sweating like ridiculously. It's disgusting. I hate the heat and ooh, check it out. I put on some hoops because I wanted to have fun, but it's really not a good idea because it just wasted more time because I'm really warm. And that's not what this video is about today. Today we're only talking about the biggest problem in my opinion, and that problem is ignorance. Yes, ignorance is the biggest issue people have to deal with Lyme disease. Let me remind you that Lyme disease is an actual disease. Okay, most illnesses, people actually know what they are, and so they don't ignore them, so it's not an issue that you have to deal with on top of it. But with Lyme disease, on top of being super sick, you have to deal with a bunch of idiots who are so close-minded that they think they're always right and that whatever you have to say when you're the person who has the actual illness, it doesn't matter to them. Ew. You have to deal with ignorance a lot. And the first people that you'll notice are ignorant are doctors. Yes, that is right. I have spent I was gonna say hours, yeah, I wish. 2 years trying to find what was wrong with me because doctors were ignorant and they did not know what Lyme was, or they were so ignorant that they believed that the only Lyme that exists is when you go camping and that's the only way you can get it because you're in the woods for a certain amount of time, and that you must have a bullseye rash in order to get the disease. I don't care who you are, okay? You could be the president. Okay, well that was a bad example because I'm not really a fan. But you know, praise Barack Obama. I don't care who you are. Okay, you could be Shawn Mendes for all I care. If you're ignorant to me, you're like dust. You don't matter. And if you're dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with, or something similar where people are ignorant idiots, whatever. Those people don't matter. Let's not let them get in under our beautiful Neutrogena skin. Okay, we deserve way better. And eyebrow sweat. It's not just doctors, because obviously it takes forever for them to figure it out because they don't associate the different symptoms together. They all treat them individually as if you have a bunch of individual little mental issues that are causing little symptoms, which is completely false. To your surprise, I will let you know that yes, celebrities have Lyme disease too. Okay? Yolanda Hadid, Bella Hadid, Anwar Hadid, they all got it. And Avril Lavigne, Shania Twain. Avril Lavigne wrote a great song about Lyme disease, you know. Whatever. Okay. So, back to the point. If there is one flaw that I can point out, which I'm really good at pointing out flaws, it is that ignorance is the worst flaw you can have, in my opinion. When you're so close-minded and you think you know it's a problem. Like, I ran into a teacher when I was taking a walk, and it was right before I found out I had Lyme, and I was still doing research on Lyme. And then she was like, how are you doing? And I was like, oh, I've been sick for 2 years, it's not good. And then she said, oh, what is it, do you think? I said, I think it could be Lyme disease. And she was like, no way, if you didn't have your bullseye rash, no, there's no way you could have Lyme. Who are you to know? Huh? How would you know? It's humiliating when doctors tell you that it's in your head and that you have to see a psychologist, because of course you're going to believe doctors because you think that doctors know everything. Especially when you have not been sick before. You think, okay, if something bad happens, you can rely on the doctor to help you. But you can't. I respect doctors very much, but they don't know everything. And especially when it comes to Lyme disease, there's a lot that they should know and that they don't. At school, you know, lots of teachers would kick me out of their classes because I had no explanation, because doctors would say, it's a vicious cycle where your brain is making your body sick because subconsciously, you know, you want a break from school or something. Yeah, someone actually said that to me. Okay, I went to a Reiki person, and she was like, oh, are you just doing this because you don't want to go to school? Why do you have the right to do that, honestly? You have no idea. And of course I said no, right? But it's just wrong. And then at school, it's embarrassing because people would ask me, like, what's wrong? Why do you always leave the class early? And I would have to say, I don't know, apparently it's in my head. And that's just humiliating. You need to have an answer. And even when you have an answer, you say you have Lyme. Nobody even knows what Lyme is. At least a lot of people that I've met have no idea. You say you have Lyme, okay, fine, so do you want to go to a party later? Like, no! And then, the thing that bothers me so much, say I work out every single day because it's important to me to sweat. Yeah, I know I sweat like crazy. It's important to get your muscles moving and just to move, because if you don't move, you'll be stuck in a bigger rut. Okay, and people often would say, oh, well, if you can do this, then you can obviously do this, so you could obviously go to school if you're able to do this, or oh, you could. No, that's not how it works, you know. You don't have one stable thing of energy throughout the whole entire day where you can do many things. It's you do one thing and that's it. And then maybe you can do something later after you rest, and then that's it, and you'll be half dead for the rest of the day. Please do not be ignorant. It doesn't matter how a person looks, okay? You could look like a supermodel, okay, walking around the mall, and you don't know if that person is dying. You have no idea. How a person looks is not the way that they are. It has nothing to do with how they act, whatever, okay? I'm just saying, if I want to, I can look super healthy, and if I want to, I can look super dead. That has nothing to do with how I feel inside. I have so many symptoms, and it's a mess, and I used to not even be able to walk, okay? So do not judge people how the way they look. I know that when I first got sick, and one of my bullies at school would say, oh, she's looking for attention, you know, pretending to be sick and not coming to school. I'm sorry, if I wanted attention, why would I leave? Literally, who gets attention from being gone and never even coming back? It's not because you want attention. If you want attention from anyone, it's from a doctor's brain, because you want them to know what you have. If you have a chronic illness or any illness, and people don't know what it is and they don't understand, one, you have to raise your voice. I'm so sick of not being heard, okay? Ignorance is not bliss. I hate that expression. There's no such thing as it being bliss, you know? When something doesn't concern you, it's often easy to be closed off and just say, oh, it doesn't matter, you know, I don't have to deal with it, I'm not gonna fuss about it. But you should, because if this is the largest growing epidemic, you could be in your backyard and you could get bit by a tick. So if you start coming up with a bunch of symptoms and you don't know what's wrong with you, your brain's not automatically going to say, oh, I remember this could be Lyme disease because I saw Christina's video. No, I did not know what Lyme disease was before I got Lyme. I thought it was just one thing and that's it. But Lyme is really different for many different people. And there's so many different co-infections that you cannot determine if you have Lyme disease just by looking at one person and comparing yourself. Because at the end of the day, you cannot compare diseases. They're all different and they present themselves differently through everyone. I did not have a bullseye rash, and I did not go camping because this girl hates camping. I hate that, okay? Another thing I'd like to say is, I used to believe that when people would say, when they would go through a traumatic experience and they would come out on the other side and they would say, I wouldn't change what happened for the world. The first time I heard that was when I saw Bethany Hamilton's story. I really do love her. She's amazing inspiration. And she said, she was asked during an interview right after her arm got bitten off by a shark, and they asked, if you could change something, if you could go back, what would you do? And she said, I wouldn't change it for anything. And I remember when I first saw that, I was like, I don't know, 9, and I was just, how in the world would she wish that she lost an arm? Like, I would never understand that, I would never say that. But now that I've been through something, I'm not saying it's nearly as traumatic as what she's been through, but now that I've been through something really hard, I wouldn't change it for the world either. Nor do I say that I would wish it on anybody, because obviously I don't want anybody to have to deal with Lyme, which is why I'm trying to raise awareness here. It's super important, okay? Everybody knows so many diseases, but apparently Lyme is just a brain fart for people, and it's such a big illness, and it's very prominent everywhere. Unless you live in the North Pole, you are at risk, and you should take precautions, like, I don't know, put on some tick spray every time you go near some grass. It's really important. Back to the point. My God, this brain goes everywhere. I would not change what happened, because you become a different person, and you would not have been able to become that person if it weren't for the experience that you went through in order to grow. Okay? Like, if you have dead hair, you need to cut it for it to grow nicer. And that's exactly what happens when you go through something. You become so much stronger, and you don't want to change what happened, because you wouldn't be this person, and know the person you were before is not as valuable to the world as the person you are now. If there's one thing you should take away from this video, it is that, please, never judge someone by the way they look. And if someone has lived through an experience that is traumatic and they tell you about it, don't deny what they're saying and try to make your point right when you have no idea what you're talking about. That's what everybody does with Lyme, because they all think they know what it is. Oh, isn't it just something that's supposed to last like a couple weeks, and you put antibiotics and boom, you're fine? Oh, isn't it just something you can get in the woods? Or did you have a bite? No! And most people don't even care enough to ask questions. They just say what they think and what they believe they know. You tell them something, and what do they say? It's too complicated for me, just, never mind. And then they think you're fine. They think you just have the flu or something. For 2 years? Who has the flu for 2 years? That's ridiculous. I know it's easy as humans to judge people by the way they look, or by the way they sound, or by the way that, the actions that they're able or not able to do. But it's ridiculous to judge a person by the way they look, because, it's like an iceberg. Not trying to make a Titanic reference, but when you see a tiny little iceberg, at the bottom it could be huge. You have no idea what's going on in a person's life, and you have zero right to judge that person on the way they appear or the little things that you know about them, unless that person tells you every single thing about their life. You don't know anything. Do not be an idiot, because that's why every person with Lyme disease seemingly has the same story. They wait years and years to be diagnosed, and then when they are diagnosed, they can't find treatment, the government doesn't recognize it as a disease, it's not paid for by insurance, it's ridiculous. And then being told that you're crazy and having to go see a psychologist and take medication for depression, it's insane when you actually have little corkscrew bacteria invading your body and trying to kill every organ inside of you. Yes, Lyme disease can make people die, and people have died from Lyme disease. It is not a joke, okay? Unless you had Lyme. There's differences, okay? There's Lyme and then there's chronic Lyme. But people who have chronic Lyme, just say Lyme, because who has time to say 2 words when you're half dead? Just Lyme most people think of it as, okay, you get bit, you see it right away, you get it taken out, you take antibiotics, and boom, you're fine. That's great. If you had that experience, honestly, that's great. But most people, they're not that lucky to have seen the tick bite, and then they just end up thinking they're crazy because that's what doctors tell them. So thank you so much for watching. You know, leave a like, comment down below if this was informative for you, and if you'd like to see more videos about health, and and Lyme disease, and if you want to learn more, because yes, we are all students and the earth is our teacher, and if you think you know everything, awesome, you're probably just an idiot, because that already is lack of knowledge, because there's so much to learn. And if you have an experience where you have had a disease that nobody understands, please let me know, because I would love to learn about it, because we're all at risk for everything, and you never know about it until it happens to you, and that is not okay. Subscribe, and I'll see you later, my little alligators.